Talk. Myself, Nishant Kashyap. I am editor of TAGMA Times magazine and your host for today's session. And first, let me wish you all a very happy new year from TAGMA management. Wish you a very happy, healthy, and fruitful 2022 after the two challenging years. This edition is special as it marks the 10th edition of Tool Talk, first edition of this year 2022, and also we have a speaker from an emerging sector, toy manufacturing. And as we all know, since the time pandemic has emerged, we have all realized that diversification is need of the hour. Depending on one sector for business might not be sustainable for long term. And that's why it applies in tool makers as well. And they have been looking for industries such as aerospace, defense, construction equipment, medical, and many more. However, one industry that has been growing rapidly since last 2-3 years is toy making industry. In fact, Government of India also has made a plan to make India as a toy manufacturing hub for the world. And the emergence of this sector will definitely have a positive impact on tool making fraternity as well. So, and to discuss the current status of the toy manufacturing industry in India, what they demand from tool manufacturer and what are their expectations, we have Mr. Manish Kukreja, who is President of All India Toy Manufacturers Association and CEO of Mint Private Limited. Welcome, Mr. Manish.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Shanmuga Sundaram, Vice President TAGMA India, to introduce Mr. Manish to the audience. Over to you, Mr. Shan.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Executive Council members of TAGMA and on behalf of TAGMA members, I welcome Manish Kukreja for the 11th edition of Tool Talk. Here is the profile about Manish Kukreja. Manish Kukreja is President of the All India Toy Manufacturing Association and CEO of Mint Toy Private Limited. Mr. Kukreja studied mechanical engineering from Bangalore Institute of Technology and has over 25 years of experience in toy manufacturing. Over the years, he has made a pioneer role in the use of links to add motion to mechanical toys, improve standards and safety of toys with time, mentoring to various industries and startup companies in the toy industry, made detailed report on the toy industry issues and presented it to the government. He has won numerous awards in the National Toy Contest held by TAITMA from 1995 to 2019, and his company and brand, Sinsei, has been featured in Silicon India magazine as one of the top 10 promising companies in 2020. Welcome, Manish Kukreja. Thank you so much for your time spending with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah. So before we start the session, I have one request to make. If you have any question for Mr. Manish, please post them in chat box, which is in the left corner down, and that Mr. Manish can address at the end of the session. Mr. Manish, shall we start?
Sure, please. Thank you.
So, Mr. Manish, you come from a toy making industry, which we can associate all of us in our daily life as well, since our childhood. And the industry has been making, rapid development in India. In fact, as I just said, that toy making industry in recent years has grown a lot. There has been there was a SCJ inaugurated in Karnataka this year only. From 14 toy clusters has been planned and approved. And government also is planning to make India as a toy manufacturing hub. So with all these development, please share about the emerging trends that you observe in global and Indian toy making industries.
All right, I'll give a little brief about the toy industry.
Sure.
See, India has a toy industry that I think dates back to the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa times. We've all seen in the history books those the dancing doll and all. So we have a very rich culture of toys. But what happened was somewhere in the early 70s, China took the lead there. What they did was this: I had a toy policy where they made it. And one of the reasons why they did that was because I think toys are used as a stepping stone for modernization of any country. If we actually, look back at history, which were some of the toy, we used to get toys in 60s and 70s, which were the major countries. It was Germany, US, UK, Japan, and today look, they're all industrialized nations. So the reason, there was a big study that we carried out over 10 years, and then we realized that the reason why toys was given a big importance was by China is because a lot of small components are being handled. And when you handle small components, that is how, the skill development happens. And what the government Skill India basically concept was is what China did it way back in the 70s. And I think that is paying dividends today with a $100 billion toy industry worldwide. India doesn't even have 1%, whereas China has about 80% of that market. Wow. It's actually a big market. So presently, I would say we lag behind China in by about at least 2 or 3 decades. We are at least about 20 years behind, at least 20 years behind. Their technological advances are very high. They have gone way back into electronics, so their electronic toys are very, very advanced. However, all said and done, I still feel it's a sunrise industry. And we are not even at the tip of the iceberg. It's a huge, we have a lot of potential. It's very complicated. It needs a lot of tech. The industry has a lot of potential to grow. I mean, we are nowhere in the world. So basically, even if you get 1% of the market today, you would have grown 1,000 times. It's that big. We basically need a lot of government support. I would say in the last 2 years or 3 years, I think ever since the Prime Minister spoke in his Man Ki Baat about toys, I would say since that time, it has come into the eyes of the industry.
Right.
I don't know how many people knew about it, but toys was at number 19 on India's top 20 imports. That includes oil, that includes gold, that includes telephones. We are at number 19. And today, thanks to the Prime Minister, we are above the champion sector. The champion sector, we are above it. So we know about that. We've been told about it. And we've been asked to make a wish list what we want. And hopefully, if we can give that to them in a very detailed manner, the way they want it, the government will deliver. So that is underway. I can't reveal much of that because it's still in negotiation with the government. And I think what I've been saying overall is we need auxiliary units. We need support industry. Like if you see the automobile industry, before Maruti, I don't think we all remember Ambassador and Fiat as the only 2 companies that were there, Premier Padmini and Hindustan Ambassador. Right. What Maruti did was it gave a completely new concept of how the industry should run. You have the engine manufacturer separate. You have somebody who makes the headlights, the brake pads, the seats, the tires. Everything is outsourced. So they have a lot of supporting industry. This is something what the toy industry needs today. That is, I think, I would say our number 1 requirement. That's it.
Right. So you spoke about the growth potential in this industry, and if we achieve even the 1% of the overall market share, it will be a huge business opportunities. So to achieve that number, what all supports your industry will need, maybe from the technology side, which can be a tool maker or any other component supplier, and then the policy side, where the government can play a role.
Okay, being a toy manufacturer myself, I would say we need a lot of support from the tooling industry. I'll give you one of my examples. I think, I don't know if my mold maker is in this, is one of the parts of what you call people who's viewing this or not. One of my molds was delayed by over 18 months. 18 months. I mean, what I was supposed to move in December of 2019, I could finally move it somewhere in 2021. So that was the kind of a delay we see very regularly in the toy industry. It is a possibility. The reason is that maybe we are financially crunched because we have a lot of competition from China. Secondly, I think it's a low ticket product. I mean, you're looking at a product that sells anywhere between, I don't know how many of you know it, but you have a product that sells anywhere between 50-60 paise into our industry, all the way till 20,000 rupees. That's the range we have.
Right.
But the bulk of them are in the range of, I would say, a 500 rupee MRP ticket is what the bulk of it is there. I think that's where the major sales come in. After that, the sales start falling a little. So because of the ticket size of the product, maybe, we are unable to go to some, really good organized players. We struggle to reach out to them because of their the mold cost and the tool cost and there's of course definitely a fear of someone copying the product. आज अगर हम कुछ मेहनत करके we make a new design and we put it out there and we spend about about 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs on a tool on molds that we make for the toy. Somebody doesn't have to do the R&D. उसने copy कर दिया, सस्ता डाई बना दिया, market में half rate में निकाल दिया. It just kills the product for us. So I think what we are basically we've asked what the government is we need some patent support, which once I make a product out, people should not be able to copy it. We have given an entire game plan for that. We are getting NID and IITs included in that. The work has already started behind the scene. And yeah, that's basically it. So once we have, if we can get faster turnaround time on tools, definitely.
Right. So recently there was a news that the toy imports in India has declined first time in last 3 years. Also, a significant number of MSMEs have registered under toy manufacturing, policies. So, how do you see the future of Indian toy manufacturing industry, and what kind of support will you need from the tool makers fraternity?
The toy imports definitely fell this year. I think it was mainly because of pandemic. Because when the pandemic hit us, basically all the international trade stopped, so nothing was coming in. The toy industry is technically pre-pandemic. We were 15% domestic and 85% imports. That's how the market was spread out. Now, when the imports stopped, what people didn't realize that time was that we are to staying at home. What about the children? We never give them a thought. How did the pandemic asking the children to stay indoors? How will they react to being held indoors? I mean, you go back to your and my childhood. We used to holiday hai, so we used to just rush down, play with our friends. You couldn't even do that during the pandemic. So how do you keep the child busy at home? And that's when the parents realized the importance of toys and games, and our sales started picking up. And since there was no import, not the imports had stopped coming in, so definitely the market grew. All said and done, I think the government did something very interesting. Was in 2015, 2016, I was a part of that meeting. They said that India is perhaps the most. We don't have any standards. We are the least standardized product country in the world. I mean, Bangladesh had more standards than we had. That's what I had heard.
Okay.
So I was really surprised. So they said, we are coming up with standards in about 255 products. Toys is one of them, and we welcome that wholeheartedly. Implementation is a different part. We will get back to it, but yeah. So the government did a good thing. Was they got some standards, and they got some really stringent standards in. So everybody has to comply. Now, when you comply with that, your quality level goes up. And now, when China wants to sell a quality product into India, we can definitely we can compete with them. And not only compete with them, we can beat them. There are certain manufacturers in the country who are now exporting toys from India to China. That's a revelation. So yeah, definitely we can beat them. And I think ever since the government took up toys as a major industry, we've had a lot of registrations. We feel there are about 5,000-6,000 companies that are newly registered. Although since BIS is a company, what we call compulsory license, about to the tune of about 500 people have only taken licenses. So that's why we are getting a little confused, because when you're talking to the government, the numbers vary. I mean, there have been reports where numbers have gone up to 8,000, 9,000 manufacturers in the country. But the number of people who've taken the BIS license is very important for us, because today, without a BIS license, you cannot manufacture toys in the country.
Mr. Manish, sorry to interrupt you. There has been a lot of messages that your voice is very low. So if anything you can do.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's a lot better. Yeah.
Want me to speak? Okay. I'll speak up. I was a little soft on choice. Okay. So yeah, there are reports in the media and the industry itself that there are about 8,000 manufacturers who are there. But about 500 people have taken licenses, BIS licenses. So so we are basically right now our basic concern is that how many people are manufacturing toys. We are requesting them to take the BIS license. I have come across many of them who become component suppliers because they are too small to take a BIS license, because BIS license comes with a big fee packet. So that's what's happened. But yeah, it's been there's much to learn on this, and the future is definitely bright because even unconfirmed sources from China have told us that China also wants to move on from beyond toys, like how the the industrialized nations have done. So they want the low-end toys not to be manufactured in China, or to be taken absolutely interior into China, where it is not as developed. So I think a lot of companies have shifted to Vietnam, to Philippines, and a few of them have even come to India. So yeah, I think India has a big advantage over here, definitely.
Right, right. So India has big advantage and may play bigger role in the global toy manufacturing industry in coming days. So my next question to you, Mr. Manish, is what are the various type of toys in the market and what kind of tooling is required for the same?
The toys actually, there are a variety of toys. I mean, when you go to a toy shop and you just look around, the
Right,
variety of materials, like right from wooden to plush to plastic to metal toys. Uh, so it's a huge variety that we roll out. Foam toys are something that have just very recently been a big hit. We have paper mesh toys as available as well.
right,
In games, you can see a lot of the general trend recently has been more towards the DIY toys and games, and towards the STEM or STEAM toys. Now, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math,
right,
and STEAM stands for you just add arts into it. So it's become STEAM toys. So these are the ones that are really running these days, because with children locked down at home, you need to give them something creative to do.
right,
The tooling, I would say, requirement is tremendous, because I mean, for wooden toys, you need cutters and maybe laser cutting machines and all. But for the majority of toys, plastic toys, we need molds, and no toy is made in one mold. I mean, I'm not talking about those Kinder Joy toys that come in single mold or just a small piece, but I'm talking about anyone who makes a simple plastic toy has multiple molds. If I remember correctly, in 2019, we had a meeting with the ministry. 2020, we had a meeting with the ministry, Jan. And there we had told them that about 400,000 new toys are introduced in India every year.
okay,
Now I across all varieties, if I do a math and I say about, okay, let's say about you need about 3 molds per toy. You're looking at 1.2 million molds. I think TAGMA itself can think about what the opportunity is there.
right. That's good opportunity for toolmaker, definitely. So, as you said that there are a huge number of tool required for toy manufacturing in India with the current market size, and if we have to grow, then definitely we need a lot of tools. So, at the moment, from where the Indian toy makers are sourcing tools, and do you think the Indian tool makers are, capable and equipped enough to serve the growing demand in toy industry?
Definitely. I mean, let me put it this way, that if I can see an Indian toy manufacturer sell toys back to China, I don't see any reason why so many brilliant tool makers I've seen in your TAGMA exhibition can deliver. I'm definitely sure a lot of tool makers are exporting from India. I've seen some amazing tools and molds being made in the TAGMA exhibition last I went.
Right,
So definitely, I think it can be done. Uh, all I would say is right now the Indian toy manufacturers are either making tool in-house. That's very few of them. I would say less than 0.5%. Most of them outsource their tool, what they call molds to local tool makers, and that's because they can't afford the price of a registered or a big tool room. Some of the big tool rooms have, they don't even want to consider toys, because I have interacted with a few of them, and they said, no, not interested, because too many small parts. We prefer a basket or a tiffin box or a bigger size products than making those small minute products. So they prefer, it's their preference. Uh, but yeah, I had the opportunity to work with one mold maker during the lockdown. uh, I gave him a product. It was not very complicated, not very easy. He promised 45 days. He delivered in 41. I was not ready with the payment, because I kind of thought, 45 days bola hai to 90 days, 100 days to jayega, because that was the thing we are tuned to. But when he delivered in 41, I was taken aback, and that also during lockdown. And he apologized. He's saying, I could have given it to you in 37 days. I'm sorry, I'm delayed by 4 days.
Right.
So I definitely know the capabilities there. It's the will we are looking at, whether we want to get into it or not. That's the thing. So, and many of the new toy manufacturers are basically what they're doing is they're buying second-hand molds from China and getting it into the country and using it. And the only reason they are buying second-hand molds from China is, A, it's coming cheaper. It's a tried and tested product, so they don't have to invest in R&D. All right. And
Right.
third is, there's no lead time as such. I've seen the product. I've ordered the mold. Within 3 weeks, it comes into my factory. I start molding and I start manufacturing.
Right.
So that's how it is right now.
Okay, so whatever the number of tools required for the Indian toy manufacturing industry, what percent of those are imported, and how much is from the domestic players, approximately?
I would say right now, with the registered members that we have, I would say it is more at 80% we are sourcing domestically and 20% are importing it. But with the new players, I have seen most of them have gone. They used to import toys from China. There's a
Right.
new players who've come in, and they are now. They have told those companies from where they used to source the toys, you give us your molds, we'll make it in India.
Right.
So that I would say would be about 70-80% imported molds and rest are domestic.
Okay. Okay. And when you start any new project in manufacturing any new toy, so what are the key evaluation factors of any toy makers before finalizing a tool room for any project in India?
Oh, okay. That's see, a toy manufacturer usually prefers to outsource his molds to a tool room.
Right.
There's an old saying in Hindi, "Jiska kaam usi ko saje."
Right.
So it's always better that I'm a toy manufacturer. I can design a new product. I can get out some innovation in my toys. I rather not put my hand in somebody else's job. Because they'll definitely do a better job than I would.
Right. Right.
There were a few few companies that used to make their own molds, but that's more or less like a maintenance or a preventive work than and rather making new molds. Like for example, if somebody has about 400 or 500 products range, and he's got about 4,000 molds, so he rather have a small tool room in house. For example, if an ejector pin gets spoiled or maybe a spring gets damaged, so he can do those changes in house and just see it. That rather than send it back to the tool room and get those things repaired, which they lose a lot of time. I have seen a lot of people invest heavily in the tool rooms in the toy in the past, and they failed miserably. I'm being very honest, right?
Right.
So the general trend is that people don't want to invest in the tools; they rather get it done. I mean, why reinvent the wheel here? I mean, it's a very simple logic. Why reinvent the wheel?
Right. But yeah, but there are many tool rooms in India of various size. So how do you select a particular tool room? What do you see in particular tool room before you finalize that tool room as your vendor, as your sourcing partner for tools?
The cost of the mold. I'll be very honest. It comes down to the cost of the mold because, as I told you right in the start, our ticket size is very small.
Right.
And it's not that it's not like a basket or a tray that's going out in bulk. It's like I make about 5,000 pieces of one particular toy, and I've spent about 10 lakh rupees mold on it, and a week later my client gives me a call, "Aur kya naya nikala?" You know, I suppose I mean let me first reap the benefits of this particular product, but no. So the price is definitely the most important factor.
Right. And what are the different types of tools that a toy industry needs usually?
We need molds. We need dies or fixtures. As we was I was speaking to someone the other day. We need masking. I think that's what people in China call the masks we make for molds, where
Right.
you can do spray painting and all. So they call those as dies. So we basically need dies there, and we need molds for the product. Uh, uh, we need there are a lot of other techniques that go into it, like you'll need to make a lot of horns for ultrasonic welding. That's very important that we need to do. So when you're making a particular product, it's not just one thing. There are a lot of other industries that are associated with us. And if I know correctly, I think a horn is nothing more like another, just like another tool that I think anybody can make.
Right, right, right. Right. So some questions from the association perspective. So, according to you, how All India Toy Manufacturer Association and TAGMA can work together for benefit of its member? How TAGMA can support, your industry in this the growth that you are talking? How we can work together in this, according to you?
Sure. I don't know if you believe in the law of attraction or no, but just 2 days before I got this invite to come for this meeting, my secretary, Mr. Sagar, and I were discussing this, and we said, you know what, we need to have these webinars or these, we need to interact with members, where we ask somebody from the ultrasonic welding machine and the injection molding machines, why is their machine superior than others, a spray painting guy, a pad printing gentleman, and introduce new technologies. And I think both of us also said, you know what, we also need to talk to to TAGMA, how we can go about it. And when 2 days later, when we got this mail, we both were looked at each other. We just smiled and he said, you know what, Sagar, why did we talk about this 2 years ago? But then, I think 2 years ago you didn't have the tool talk, so maybe that's why we had to wait for 2 years. But yeah, so I think there is a lot of a common area we can work on. We can have a lot of synergies together.
Definitely.
Our members are definitely always looking out for a good tool manufacturer. I was once told, how to satisfy an Indian customer, that he needs a German engineering. Like if he wants a car, it has to have German engineering. So looking at a Porsche or a Mercedes, a Japanese quality, American comforts, and a Chinese pricing. So I think for the tools also, we are kind of looking at a similar concept, because we need let's face it, we are going to be facing the dragon. We have to we will be uh, I won't call them our I want to fight them. I would say I'm more like, I'd like to rather be competitors with them, like how Nadal and Roger Federer. I'm a tennis fan, so how Roger Federer and Nadal are very good friends, as well as they are, their biggest competitors on court.
Right.
I would rather look at India and China that way, and I would rather compete with them instead of fighting with them. So that's my concept, and I would really like to compete with them. And I think TAGMA can play a very good role. We can have a pilot project. We can have certain we can start off small. I always say start off small. Don't look at big. Have small projects. Do small things together. Confidence builds up. You see the results coming through. Then you can build it up over, I would say, look at a 2 to 3 year horizon. And like I said, if you're looking at okay, forget the imports part of it. Let's assume 100,000 new varieties of toys has to be introduced into the country every day. Minimum 4 to 6 molds. Do the math again. 400 to 600,000 molds have to be made. The opportunity is tremendous.
Right. That's great. So definitely there are a lot of synergies
Yeah,
where these two association can work. And as you said, you could have spoken 2 years back also, we could have done something, but nothing led, led than ever. So definitely we can start from today also that how these two association can play a bigger role for the benefit of its members.
sure.
So just last question from my side before we take questions from the audience. As toy manufacturer yourself, also leading one of the largest toy manufacturers association in India, what are your suggestions to the tool makers? Because your business also depends a lot on the kind of tools you receive. So what are your suggestions to the Indian tool makers? If you can list out 4 5 suggestions, that will help us, understand more about your expectations.
I think it's a suggestions. I'll give my requirements, because I think I know a few faces here who are very senior. I have interacted with a lot of them.
Right,
Our first, I think the top priority is timely delivery, because what happens is that we are competing with China. Let's face the fact, and China innovates like this. Okay, I mean, if I want something, I'll say, no, I want to do this here. They'll go to, they have a 3D printer, they have designers in-house, they'll make that change, they'll make a 3D print, show it to you. And their turnaround time is very fast. So I think timely delivery of molds is very essential. I don't think I need to speak about accuracy because I have seen some of the molds and hats off. Yeah, I mean, brilliant. I really have seen some amazing molds there. So I cannot talk about accuracy. I think it's really good. But yeah,
Right.
for a lot of people, they say, toys bana rahe, so you don't need accuracy, but it's wrong. When you make toys, you actually need more accuracy because it's very small components and they have to fit in perfectly. The product should look, even if it's complicated, the assembly should be easy. So we always feel, जो machine काम कर सकता ना आदमी को काम नहीं करना चाहिए. Make the mold so integrate, but the assembly should be as simple. And but then again, here I'll come back to point number 1, timely delivery, and then point number 0, price consciousness. That is very important. Back-end support is required a lot because there's a lot of churning of our labor that we go through. I'll give you my example. In December, we have over 100, 250 odd staff working in a factory, and about 35 or 40 of them just left one shot. They didn't ask us why. Absolutely, we trained them over 2-3 months. They had just come in new, just disappeared. The old staff is still there, but we are going in for expansion. The new staff didn't want to work. So then again, we had to rehire again. So what happens is when you're hiring new staff, you're training them again. Somewhere in the training, they will kind of do some sort of a experiment on themselves or themselves, and they'll kind of damage the tool. I think the maintenance and the maintenance support is something that industry requires a lot. I think, as I said earlier, auxiliary industries is very important. And when I'm talking about opportunities, I have not yet mentioned the auxiliary industry. Auxiliary industries is a totally separate line together. And for example, if someone's making a toy car, there'll be a person who's supplying tires to them, and he'll have 25 or 30 different kinds of tires. And now, as per BIS norms, you need to have those tires. The rubber has to be insert molded. You cannot just put it on that, so that small parts failure should not happen. So the tire mold is one part and the insert molding is in the other part. So in that particular one product, you have 2 different kinds of molds already. So I think the auxiliary units will give another kind of opportunity for the members. That is this. I would say the pricing, timing of the molds, the turnaround time for the mold, accuracy, and back-end support. If we can have these 4, I think it'll be just the perfect combination for all of us.
Right. So thank you so much. This marks the end of our discussion, and thank you so much for sharing those insights and charting out your expectations with tool makers. Definitely, since as you said that the industry is growing rapidly, there will be a huge opportunity for tool maker. And from your speech, they have learned how to approach toy manufacturing industry and tools. So let me start taking questions one by one. So there's this first question from Mr. Gopala Krishnan. He says, as per your estimate, what is the total value in dollars of this toy industry, and how much is up for grab for the Indian tooling industry? If we try.
Sir, the toy industry worldwide market is about $100 billion.
Right.
We are not even 1% of it as of now.
Right.
That is the thing. And if you're not even 1% of it, you can say we are less than $100 million in turnover.
Right.
So if the BIS comes in, and if 85% of the market of India, I would say Indian toy market at the retail section, what I last heard was about, I think, 10,000 crores, 1.2 or $1.3 billion is what we heard. So I think the market for India is really big. We have a big market, retail market, but our manufacturing is about 15 or 20% of that. With the government putting focus on manufacturing, I am assuming everybody by end of 2022, but that's 31st March 2023. I think every Indian industry would have at least double their output to what they were pre-pandemic. That is my estimate. Every organized, let me be more specific. Every organized manufacturer would have at least doubled his output.
Okay.
So the opportunity is huge because there'll be a lot of vacuum in the market and variety will be required. I don't see in the near future imports opening up totally. So children will want variety and people will start giving it to them.
Got it. Got it. Right. So there is another question from Mr. Gopalakrishnan. It is about what is your opinion as toy maker or user of toy molds in using imported high strength aluminium, which packs major advantage of low density, low corrosion, high machinability, higher thermal conductivity, and the fastest mold making time. Your take on this?
Wow, so that's a pretty technical question. I'll be very honest, sir. Most of the toy manufacturers do not know all the technical details of the material that goes into the molds. I'll be very honest here. The last, I think people started talking very enthusiastically was of a particular grade of steel called P20. I'm sure everybody's used it, but I think P20 is also now passed on. People have moved on from there. China has definitely moved on from there. So yeah, I think that'll be a difficult question for me to answer because I'm not aware of the properties of the particular material you're talking about. But if the cost of the material is low and if the mold can be made faster and cheaper and more durable, then I think it should be very good. People should adopt it for sure.
Right. So one more question from Mr. Arvind Chawla. He asks, what support TAGMA can offer to enhance your toy manufacturing in terms of mold making? I think briefly you addressed this, but probably you can discuss in detail.
Yeah, so I think what we need to understand is we have to have in my suggestion would be we should have a matchmaking session first. I think there should be we should have an interaction between I would say the managing committee of TAGMA and TAITMA. We can shortlist, have a small program wherein people can tell, okay, this is what I'm looking for a tooling. For example, if I'm making toy vehicles, I'm making toy vehicles and I have, for me, making a headlight, a tail light is very important. So anybody who doesn't have a problem making smaller molds as well, because it's a package, right? It's a whole package. Then, maybe out of say 700 members of TAGMA, maybe about 100 of them are interested. Then something more comes up, maybe out of 150 will come now. So once we have the matchmaking session done, as you said, in our interaction before this meeting, that we have a TAGMA's exhibition is coming up in April. We can have a matchmaking session, a separate, some space booked out there where, appointments can be given and like a buyer-seller meet. The manufacturers can come there and interact with them one-on-one, and then take it up from there. I think that will be the best way to go about it. We'll have the, our members will have the support that, okay, TAITMA is behind us, and your members will have the support that TAGMA is behind us. And if synergies can work out together, we can have a joint meeting with both the members, with a couple of pilot projects that have taken off, and then see where it goes. I think that's the best way to go about it.
Nice. Right way to go about it, as you said. There's a question from Mr. Himanshu. Where you see metal 3D printing for making core cavities for toys? In a technical question, but yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Where you see metal 3D printing for making core cavity for toys?
Okay, Himanshu, I think that question would have been better answered by my son because he's in his final year engineering and he's studying 3D printing. But yeah, he's been very excited about that, and he's kind of briefed me on the opportunities. And I believe I don't understand the technology as well, but I believe it's really it is a versatile technology where you can make very integrated molds and at a faster turnaround time. I'm not too sure. That's the understanding I got. I could be wrong. But yeah, metal 3D printing, I'm not too sure if in India anybody has it, but if they have it, I think it'll be really good. It'll be really good for us. But if you want, I can answer that question. Maybe I'll send a mail out to TAGMA sometime later after I speak to my son. He's just left office and gone.
Right, right. So to audience, you can still post some questions. We have some time left. Thank you so much. So Mr. Manish, there is question from Mr. Vishal Purohit. He says it is seen that most of the toy industry now is being still imported and as part in getting assembled here. Is it because of the cheap rate or unavailability of resources?
So it's more because of cheap rate. See, what is happening is that components are coming in. Okay, let me give a little briefing on the toy industry. What the turmoil it went through.
Right,
What happened was that as an association president, it will be very surprising for everybody to hear. We were never against import of toys, right? We were against the substandard import of toys. Now that's a very, you have to be very, it's a very thing. I mean, for example, if a Lego is coming into the country, we don't have a problem, all right?
right,
I'm just giving an example. But if you're getting a substandard quality of product, which is actually has harmful chemicals in it, and that's coming into the country. I mean, you see, you have a plastic in virgin, and then you have plastic in second grade and third grade, and then you have a multiple recycled plastic as well, right? So you come down to the cheapest level of plastic, which has all the kind of toxicity inside it, and that gets imported into the country. But the finish is so good that people prefer that over the Indian manufactured toy, which is perhaps not that good looking, but of a better quality. So we basically, apples to apples was not being matched. So we were facing a problem with that. What the government has done with the BIS order is made up level playing field for us.
right, right.
Now, even if a substandard product is coming in, after it is assembled in the country, even if it comes as components, that gentleman still needs a BIS license to sell the product in the country. So as of now, what's happening is most of the importers who used to import ready-made products, since they cannot come into the country because those companies are not BIS certified, they are getting components in, assembling it here, and moving on. So it's like a way around the present law that people have seen. That is more of the reason why. And frankly speaking, I think this will continue to happen because I said, 85% was imported, 15% is domestic. So if we double our turnover, we will still be 30% of the market share only. So that 70% vacuum is huge. And in the last 3 years, I have seen so many startups come up. And yes, and some of them have such wonderful products. And best is all of them are BIS certified. So hats off to those guys.
Nice, nice. Another question from Mr. Paresh Panchal. He asks, what about product design challenges? Do you expect tool makers to do product design as well?
Namaskar, Paresh ji. How are you? I know Mr. Paresh ji, we've interacted before. Sir, regarding the toy design, a lot of headway has been made over there. We've had interactions with the National Institute of Design. We've had interaction with a couple of more institutes, IIT being one of them. And we have spoken to the Ministry of Commerce, that's DPIIT, and they have agreed that they'll have a program. I was a part of an NID talk in which we have a proposal, so we are still working out the details on that part. And they are basically coming up with a toy bank, a data bank of designs. The government of India did a toy-kathon last year. I think about 117, 118 products were shortlisted. We had to sign an NDA when we could see those products. So that was very important. And since we had the NDA signed up, so we can't even copy those designs, and those designs got patented and copyrighted by the government itself. So similar something like this happening with the NID. And I think when that happens, what the advantage is, it basically takes off the design burden from my end. Something else what NIDs agreed upon, which has been good for the industry, is we as manufacturers sometimes have ideas, but we can't give it form, if you understand what I mean.
Right.
So we have told NID, if we come up with our ideas, can you help us? And they said, okay, I will give the same option to everybody and every association, including TAGMA. If the talent is everywhere. So Pareshji, if you have someone who can, if I have an idea and they can help me make the 3D design of it, you become my best friend, because right from conceptualization to finalization of the mold, I don't have to go anywhere else. I'll just catch a metro, come over to your factory, we'll finalize it, catch a metro, come back to my office. So it'll be as simple as that.
Right.
Yeah.
So one question from Mr. Amit Salunke. What is your opinion about the collaborative approach? Instead of making one full toys by one company, maybe group of 3-4 companies can come together and produce the end product to reduce the infrastructure cost. So do you think it will be a viable option in your opinion?
Definitely, sir. I've always been saying we need auxiliary units. We need component manufacturers. That is something that we've been asking for, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, what happens is the trust factor in our industry is not at the best, because people have been copying each other a lot. Very often, it's happened in the past. So if I'm
Right.
making a product, I don't want to disclose my designs to a third person. So what happens is I end up making everything. That's a sad
Right.
part of it. But yeah, I think there has to be a code of conduct amongst the manufacturers. That's very important. In the association, we have a group called Young Guns. All the young guys are there. Sagar is part of the Young Guns. So I've told him, what, make a code of conduct, have a good setup there. Let me give you another example. We've been trying to have a toy cluster for manufacturers being formed, right? Apart from Kopal, and I think the one's come up in another one coming up at Yamuna Expressway in UP. Not many of them have actually seen manufacturers thronging to. The established manufacturers, I would say, not the new ones, the established ones, the older ones, because the fear is, either they'll poach my staff or they will copy my product. वो एक आ जाता है. So we are filing a code of conduct amongst ourselves. We've shortlisted about 20 manufacturers who are looking for a land parcel to make a toy cluster there. In fact, one of the requirements of the toy cluster was we need a tool room there. So that was one of the questions we were saying, that we'll ask TAGMA to help us there. So that was one of the discussions we had. And
Right.
so that, because everybody will have its different requirements. So, maybe you can have one big area where everybody can participate and help us there. So yeah, it is a possibility. I would say components, if you're looking at one particular product, everybody manufactures and sells it, then the ego should not come into the picture, but ego usually comes into the picture, kiske brand mein jayega, everybody will want to fight on that part. So I would say I tried this concept some time back. I said, what, this concept is mine, but I want you to make this, you to make this, you to make that. So if people agree on that part of it, then definitely it's a thumbs up, because then I don't have to, as you said, I don't have to duplicate the infrastructure.
Right. Right. So you spoke about the cluster, and we have one question on that front only. From Mr. Ramesh. So is there any plan to start a special manufacturing zone state-wise like we have for aerospace and automotive industry?
We've actually been trying to follow up with the MIDC on that part. We've seen 2 places, one at Shapur, one at Khargar. I forgot the name of the place. We have those images, but nothing has come up from MIDC's side. I think they were busy with some work. The Gujarat government has shown some interest. We have shortlisted another location in Silvassa, where I'm located. We have a land parcel there also. So that is just, these are the 2 locations we've just started talking about it. We have another team that's handling that. So Hitesh Bhai is going to look into that totally, and he will revert back with the report. Yeah, but we are looking at opening up a couple of clusters. Definitely, we want it.
Right. So one question from Mr. Arvind Chawla, interesting one. What is the price difference you have experienced in price of imported toy tool and made in India toy tool of same quality?
Okay, I actually have never bought an imported toy tool. I'm being very honest. I've never purchased one. I made all my tools in India.
Okay.
The reason is because I need support. As I said, like I need support. Right? If just anything goes wrong, if I get from China, it will be a problem. But I have studied a lot of molds. I have seen a lot of people who've imported molds from there. I would say the tooling quality is not the tooling. I think is really at par what India makes, that what China makes. China, definitely what it does is that an older tool that they have, they sell it for a cheaper rate. And those old designs that have been actually sold to the world is not that old in India. It still sells in India. So I think it'll be wrong to compare. But if I take a new tool, India to China, I don't know who the most expensive tool maker in TAGMA, but definitely cannot be more expensive than what was in China. So I think TAGMA can easily beat those molds out there in pricing as well. I've seen that.
Right. We'll take a couple of more questions before we can wrap up the session. From Mr. Lokesh, what is the product design scope for Indian design engineer services to support the toy industries?
Okay. Okay, just the sunrise sector. As I said, the opportunities are tremendous, right? You have a new concept, you have a new. In fact, a lot of people, there are a lot of young designers who are there. A lot of students pass out from NID every year. I think now there are 3 NIDs, if I'm not mistaken. There's one in Ahmedabad, there's one in Bangalore as well. So they all have a toy design, curriculum. So a lot of students pass out. There is a lot of scope. If you have something new or something new, innovative idea, I would always say is, first thing is get a legal opinion and get your designs patented. Please do that. Because if you, I'll take myself as an example. If you come to me and you show me a design and I'll tell you, Nana, it's crappy, and you go away, and then I'll keep that design and I'll copy it. I'm being very honest. That's what a general, see, not that I do it, but I'm just taking myself as an example because I don't want to point fingers at anyone, but it happens. It openly happens. All right. That's the reason that the government of India made every manufacturer sign an NDA when they were seeing, before they could see those designs of the Toy-Kathan guys.
Right.
And everybody who signed the NDA, they are now tracking their products so that those concepts should not have been hijacked. So the opportunities are great. In fact, I'm working with a couple of designers. We have told them that we will put your name and your email address on the packaging when the product is launched. We will, although the design patent will be with us, we'll put you as the inventor of the product, because it's important that the patent remains with the manufacturer, because otherwise, if you give it to somebody else, the whole concept of me investing in the molds goes away. So I will basically buy out the design from you and the design becomes mine. But I will write your details. That's the policy we as a company follow. And I always recommend to all my friends, do that, because you not only give an opportunity to the designer, if the industry grows, you will definitely grow with it. That's my simple understanding. There's no point, putting somebody else down and going ahead. It'll never happen. You'll never succeed.
Right.
So designing, 100%, lots of opportunities.
Right. So there are many questions still pending, but I can take only 1 or 2 questions because Mr. Manish has to leave for another meeting. So just last question from Mr. Gaurav Daga. Would you suggest a new manufacturer to import second-hand mold from China to get a head start, or work with local player considering the lead time, cost, and innovation?
I would say mixed bag. I would say mixed bag. I would say mixed bag because see, you get a second-hand mold from China, then you are restricted to what that product can do. But I'll give you an example of another startup that is there. They're based in Bombay only. He came up with one product. It's a struggle. Definitely, it's a struggle. I'm not going to deny that. He's an NID student. He became a little smarter as in how he went along. And what he did was he went online. And he created an online on Amazon and Flipkart. He created his own marketplace. Okay. Once his product started selling there, then the retail outlets automatically started approaching him for his products. Because what happens is when you get visibility online, is what the retailers start saying, oh, that udhar mil raha hai, to who's this guy? I want to buy his products as well. Distributors start sourcing those products. So it took him about 3-4 years before he could have a name on himself. And today his sales have picked up. But it is always the case. It'll be a 3 or 4 year journey. You will never have if you have a rocket side going up, it'll come down as well. Right. It'll be a growth, a general growth. But I think that can happen. Mixed bag is good, but if you have something really unique, then go with your product, go with your hunch. what do you call, gut feeling. We'll go through.
Right, right. So I think we cannot take any more questions, but if you have more questions and it has not been addressed, you can write to us at tagma.mumbai@tagmaindia.org, and we'll make sure that the question reaches out to Mr. Manish, and then we can get you answers later on. But I'm sorry, we cannot take any more question at the moment. Thank you so much, Mr. Manish, for taking the questions straightforward, and it was very insightful session. And now I would like to invite Mr. Paresh Panchal to give a vote of thanks to Mr. Manish and the audience. Mr. Paresh.
Please, ji, namaste.
Namaskar, sir.
Thank you very much for coming on platform and sharing your complete experiences. And what you said is absolutely right. Right from the Manji Dodo to today's generation toys are, there's a huge transition, So as per my experience, today's toys are really challenging. Design-wise, be it aesthetic, be it, the complexity. So toy itself is I'd say, a complex machine by itself, where lots of expectations need to be considered. So thanks for sharing all your experiences, and you also share that you had a bad experience of 18 months of delivering time to the good experience of 45 or 41 days. So
Yeah.
yes, so we do have a good tool makers in the country, and both of our associations can work together to understand each other, and die mold is coming up. So that will be a good opportunity to, as you said, we will have the B2B meeting kind of, scenarios can be definitely created, where your manufacturers and our tool makers, brothers can demonstrate and, collaborate each other. And let's make the India a best place for the toy manufacturing as per our Prime Minister's vision. And, as you said, he started from the Monkey Bath, and all of a sudden the toys attention was there. So a lot of initiatives are happening in India, be it a cluster or be it a cluster development or being design activities, or there are some design challenges also happening. That's what I have gone through those things. And
Yeah.
it said, as you said, that patent of the design. So overall, the market is gearing up to the well-matured, scenario. So once again, thank you very much for coming and sharing, and we should keep on interacting more so that we can have a meaningful business tie between both the associations, which will be in benefit of the entire Indian manufacturing community. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Paresh ji. Please.
Thank you.
We will take this up further. We will again find a way to collaborate. Let's think about in the coming week or coming month, we will have a conclusion of how to meet up both the associations.
That's right.
Yeah, and I just want to share one thing. The next meeting that I'm actually going into is with the Ministry of Commerce. It's on something called as NSWS. That's National Single Window Scheme. The government of India is coming up with that. I've shared the details with the TAGMA right now. You can have they'll filter it down. It's a unique concept, single window for all your requirements, all your licenses, everything. About 14 states have already signed up. So we have a second round of meeting over there, and that's where I'm heading for right now. It's online
Right.
again. So
I will take your number. I'll come back to you over phone. Let you finish
sure.
the meeting. We'll try interact and chat in the evening.
Yeah, sure.
Then we'll take the message to our members.
Sure, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice of you.
Thank you so much, Manish ji. And as we have been discussing, we will get some mail from us. Definitely, we'll work together in coming days as well. Thank you so much for your time and sharing insights. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And please stay tuned. We'll come up with a new topic for the February editions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.